We're going to talk about what happened over the next year and what's going to happen in the future. So what happened over the last year is that we all got caught in congestion, right? So it became a political dynamic that was irresistible in the political scene in Sacramento. So after 3 to 4 years of work, and a lot of time wasted, as you can see, those are some good numbers, we decided that we were going to get this bill passed. Now, this bill passed, it had to have 2/3 vote. And everybody was laughing at me, ha ha, you're not going to be able to do this. Do you ever have anybody tell you that in your business? Yeah, of course, everybody here has. So I was hearing that over and over again. Don't waste your time, try to do something real small, don't kid yourself. And I said, no, what I want to do is I want to have the biggest single infrastructure finance bill in the history of California and the largest state finance bill in the history of the United States. And that's what we did. So the solution was to start to begin to solve our problems. And we go on the next one there. I don't know. We're moving slow, like traffic here. For me, it wasn't about going out and giving speeches or anything like that. It was meeting with both Republicans and Democrats individually and talking about their districts and finding out what their needs were and individually dealing with them as persons, not as Democrats or Republicans or elected officials, but as persons. And the one common denominator was everybody hates the wasted time that they have. And you can see what happens in the Bay Area. It's just gotten terrible. So let's go on to SB1. Let's get into the meats of this. This is what SB1 did. It's the biggest infrastructure bill in the history of California and the history of state governments in the United States. We felt that to get it appropriately passed, we had to do a lot of research, and we had some very good research done by many organizations, and we especially appreciated Caltrans, the League of Cities, county governments, research institutes to provide our decision makers with data and not opinions. It's easy to listen to lobbyists, and you have to listen to them a lot up in Sacramento. But I'd rather go home at night and read some big report by the Rand Institute or something like that. I'm kind of a wonky kind of legislator, as many of you know. Ron knows that. I like to get into the meats of the issue. And what we found was huge backlogs in maintenance. Huge backlogs in maintenance. And what is backlogs from a budgetary standpoint? How does that deal with that? Well, you can either solve it by increasing revenues, taking money from something else, like the general fund of the state, or taking money from the transportation projects. Those are the three ways we figured you can solve this problem. Taking money from the transportation projects meant that over 10, 15 years, based on the current revenue, there'd be no projects ever in the budget, no transportation projects. It'd be flatline. We'd flatline all new construction. It'd all go to maintenance. Taken out of the general fund meant that we'd have to fund the transportation budget, and this has been proposed by our opponents. This is the one proposal they made. We'd have to take the money out of the education budget. Because if you're going to have ongoing money of the level we're funding, $6 billion a year, you're going to have to cut education. So that's the other option. And the third option was this, that we funded it through a modest growth in the gas tax and vehicle fees. And that's the option that got the 2/3 vote and signed by the governor. So what does it do? This gives you an idea, but let's go down to see what happens in Santa Clara County. Like, let's get down to this area. It funds, how many people want the BART project built? Okay. We're going to have a decision pretty soon, and I'm meeting with all the people this week and next week, and we're going to have the leadership group's going to have a meeting with us, with the mayors and everybody else. And we want everybody to nudge the governor to fund the $750 million that we have requested for the BART to San Jose project. And that's going to be a top priority for this area. It also means that we have this is funded, the managed lanes projects on Highway 101. Those are important projects. Some of these interchanges projects. We also will fund projects of maintenance, safety. You know, there's 500 bridges that are seismically unsafe. We got to fund those. Remember, if we don't fund it through the way we did it, none of those projects will be funded. And when you start seeing bridges fall down and roads collapse like the I-5 in the Tejon Pass last year when we had all the flooding, $1.4 billion worth of flood damage a year ago, remember? It was $1.4 billion worth of emergency repairs to the state highway system. If you start seeing that, where are you going to get the money? So we have started accelerating these projects, and and I'm sure that we'll hear later from the CTC, Susan, on the acceleration. But we are accelerating these projects, and we are moving all these projects rapidly. So you're going to start seeing you already have seen a lot of work done. So we're making a difference right now, and SB1 is being implemented, and we have a ballot measure on the ballot in June. It's called Proposition 69. And what that does is something that people had to worry about. Well, Jim, if we funded this, what's going to happen to the money? Are they going to take it for something else? Well, what that does is it puts in the Constitution that none of this money can be taken for anything other than this transportation work that we have in SB1. You like that? You think you can vote for that one? Yeah, so let's get that passed. It's Proposition 69. It locks in the money so we don't have in the future some legislature, people like me, taking the money for something else. And we want the money only spent on the purposes which we passed SB1 for, which is mainly maintenance and transit maintenance as well. So I thank you very much. I'll quit early, right? Early? Okay, there we go. Okay, thank you very much.